Abril Rodriguez. I recently graduated from UCLA this past June, and I majored in Chicano studies, and I'm on the pre-med track.
My name is Monse Rodriguez. I am attending the University of Southern California. I'm currently majoring in business administration, and I will be graduating in 2029.
Early motivations for me were just kind of this unknown reason, like an unknown want to go to college. I always knew I wanted to go. I mean, before I even knew what it really was or what I wanted to study, I just knew I always wanted to do that. For my parents, the furthest school they completed was about like a middle school equivalent, like 6th grade. And so I knew that this is going to be a new journey for me, and it was going to be a tough one because, it was one I was going to have to do on my own.
My biggest motivators is, of course, my sister, because she's already done it before, and she faced a lot of challenges, but she really made it seem like, again, she made it seem like something that you can really overcome all the challenges, and you can really push yourself. And I've seen her firsthand do that.
What was your reaction to being accepted to the schools that you applied to?
So initially I had one school in mind that I really wanted to go to, and I was like, as long as I get into that one, I'll be fine. But then I remember looking at my acceptances with my sister, my little sister, and at the time I was like so nervous. I was like literally like sweating and like shaking, like I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. And then I got into the school I wanted to, and it was like confusion because I expected to be like super happy and like just ecstatic about it. But then when I got my acceptance, I was like, like that's not how I thought I would feel. I applied to like UCLA out of a whim. Like I just was like, well, it's a really good school, like let me just apply. But then when I was getting my acceptances, I was like, I don't want to go to any of the schools I just got accepted in. I really want to go to UCLA. And my sister is like, I would say I'm very optimistic and she's more pessimistic. And she has this joke that like, if you have no expectations or if you have them low, like you'll never be disappointed. So she would always just joke like, whatever, you're not gonna get in. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, she's like, don't even worry about it. Like, you're not gonna go anyways. And so I was like, okay. But it's like, she's just, we are very, like, we try and make the best out of a situation. We have like dark humor. So I knew that was her way of trying to comfort me. And then I was like waiting on my acceptance and I was opening it and I was just like, okay, yeah, I know it's gonna say like, sorry to tell you, whatever. But then I opened it and it was like, congratulations, and everything else blurred. Me and my sister just like started jumping up and down. We were ecstatic. And it was as if like I had this like instant relief, like, okay, I can breathe. Like, every late night, every, difficult task I had to do like meant something. So I think it was just kind of like a relief that like all of my efforts were amounted to something.
So I remember, I always knew USC, Marshall was my top choice. That was the only place I cared about. Honestly, did not care about any of my other applications. So I just put my all into this one application. And especially when college app season came around, I was always stressed. I was like, I want to go to USC. Like everyone I knew that I wanted to go to USC. I would talk about it every single day. And what am I going to do if I don't get in? But I did have a lot of doubt. So I remember the day finally came around because I applied early action, and me and my other friend, we actually both applied, and I was so anxious. The entire week I was so anxious, but especially the day of, we got the notification on our phones, the decision is out. It was kind of okay, if I don't get in right now, I can get deferred or whatever. But I just was like, I'm not getting in. I FaceTimed my sister. I was with my friend and we both opened it together. My sister and even her roommate, we opened it together, and I was just I was shaking. I was so scared. And then I was just okay, 3, 2, 1, go. And we both opened it, and we go kind of silent for a quick second. And then we look at each other and we're like, and because we both got in. And it was the craziest thing ever. It's one of the best days ever.
So I had most of my classes were like pre-med classes or classes from my major. I had like 300, 400, 500 even, like student lecture halls for bio. It was super fast paced. I just like remember looking around the room and seeing maybe a handful of people that looked like me there. And I was like, whoa, what am I doing here? And then I didn't really know what imposter syndrome even was until I talked to a fellow like classmate who was also Latina. And I was kind of just describing like how I felt. I was like, I don't know why, like I just feel like I don't belong here and like I'm out of place. I'm doing something wrong or I'm behind. And she was like, I feel the same way. And then she was describing like imposter syndrome. She mentioned it and I was like, what's that? She was like, oh, like exactly what you're feeling. And I definitely did. But once I kind of knew that I wasn't the only one experiencing this, I knew that it was just something in my head. And it's kind of part of breaking generational experiences and being the first to do something is that, like, yeah, you're gonna have those moments that you feel like you're in the wrong place, but that's exactly why you should be there. It was definitely hard at first, but once I acknowledged it and, I was like, I'm worth being here just as much as every other student. We had the same application and I got in just as much as they did. I kind of started feeling like I belonged, and so after that, it was easier to navigate.
Doubt always was a factor throughout the entire time I was in high school, but it was really there, especially my freshman and sophomore year. I always felt like kind of an outsider. I always felt like I almost didn't belong, and being put into these rooms where people like, go to really nice schools, it really prepared me. I was very scared at first, but I ended up having a lot of opportunities to work on my professional development. Being around people who have like been in my position before and like getting that mentorship and guidance, it made it seem more possible in a sense. But even then, it still felt like, yes, I've done these things, but I don't know, like, will I be able to make it? The earliest memories I have is just like elementary school and even middle school. I always enjoyed challenging myself. Also, just knowing that my parents never got to have an opportunity to go to high school or even middle school, especially having the opportunity to want to go to a good college and like do well in high school. Seeing my sister lead by example just kind of made it seem more attainable, something that I could actually do and accomplish. And it wasn't something that was just like, I'll never be able to.
A constant thing that pushed me through was just thinking about all the people that, I guess not look up to me, but how much the people that put in work to get to where I am. Obviously, like I had my own part in it, yes, but I wouldn't have gotten where I am today without the help of my parents and my sister and my family and all my friends that I made. So I think just reminding myself like who I'm doing it for, myself, but also for my people. And that kind of pushed me through a lot too. And I know my goals and my purpose and like what I want to do in life. And I know that college isn't really an option. I have to do it. I have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish. And so as tough as it is, like this is just the first step.
I definitely use my sister as a resource. I think also just her going to college, even though it's in state, like 6 hours away, 7 hours away, it's still like no one really ever did that in the family. Where like, and especially because we're really close, like we're really family oriented. So I think her like making the leap and pushing to like to accomplish her dreams, and like she's always been an inspiration and like a role model. And even to this day, like I'll call her all the time, like ask her all these questions, or like whenever I like need that support or motivation. Like I think we do a good job at helping each other, even though we're both in different stages. I think it's cool because she's already done these things, so like I get to piggyback off of her. But obviously in my own ways, like I also like that we're studying completely different things, because it makes us have our own unique experiences, but we do support each other. Even me as as a freshman, I'm always giving her, like instilling in her that, again, like giving her the motivation and having those conversations like we do belong. Or yes, our like journeys look different right now, but like it's still, it ties in together. At the end of the day, it's like we're first generation. We honestly, like a lot of the time, we're the only ones that like look like each other. Like
Everything I've done, it's always like I'm always constantly thinking of her and how what I do can help her. I knew that, once I did this, maybe that she would see college as not like a faraway dream that's not achievable, but something that's like maintain, like it's definitely achievable. You just have to put in the work. And I always joke that she's a lot smarter than me and like, more competitive, I would say. So I was like, if I could do it, like there's no way you can't. And so yeah, like I constantly think about how like because I've done it now and I've had to kind of go through that initial struggle, like now I understand like what you need to be successful and also the secrets of college and will really tell you and better prepare her so that she has a step forward when she starts. And I mean, I'm hoping that it did help. I think I've recycled my success by sharing the knowledge I've learned from college. I think with not only my sister, but anyone that's ever asked. Like I have some younger cousins that sometimes ask me about like my experience, or I can tell like maybe they are interested in different fields, but like still the process I've had to go through I think are helpful. Anytime my sister or her friends or anything have asked about anything related to college, I try and help. I think also being open about the experience I went through and the difficulties, but also pushing through them are helpful for other students so that they don't feel like, they're alone in experiencing that. But also just talking about like my next steps. I know I want to go to med school and I have some knowledge. I've asked around a lot about like what the steps you need to take to be prepared for the application, for all that stuff. So anyone that's interested in knowing about that, I'm always happy to share my experience or like what I've found to be helpful or what I've learned. But also like I think just being like a member of this community and wanting to do more, whether that's through like the work I've done or through the work I will do in the future. My overall goal is to one day provide for this community. Like a lot of people I know like to say that they grew up here and they want to get out of here. They want to go to college so that they can attain more. And yes, I want to attain more, but I also want to recycle my success, give back to the community that I grew up in and has helped me get to where I am.
My mom, like, she's an example of that. She's currently going to school to like improve her English, and she'll like call me all the time and like ask me, did I answer this correctly? Or like she'll send us like TikToks of like different things to do. And I think also like through she's learned kind of like the differences, like of what she didn't even know the difference between like a UC or a public university between like a private. And so we just kind of had to tell her, but now she's like very in the loop.
Sadly, being Mexican and being Latina, there's not many times that like mental health is brought up in a good way. I think there's like this negative connotation of like if you need help, then like there's something wrong with you. And it's not even necessarily that that's the atmosphere I grew up in. It's just kind of like you're just expected to, do whatever you need to do and just like not complain. I just had enough. And it wasn't until I talked to my mom a lot while I was in college, and I think she could tell like that there was something wrong, and I just didn't want to open up. And it's kind of like they say like moms know best. And there was like one conversation I had with her that I was just like really going through it that day, and she kind of just asked me out of nowhere like what's wrong. And I was so taken aback that I couldn't help it, and I just burst out like everything I was feeling. And she was just super understanding. She was like, if you want us to pick you up, don't even worry about it, we'll go right now. But if it's just because you're scared and you're capable of way more than you think you are, and I just say give it a week, see if you still feel that way, then like don't even worry about it. When she asked me like what I wanted to do, in my head I was like, I want to stay, I want to show that I can do it. It's just so hard, the readjusting. From that moment on, I was like, okay, like you're right, like let me prove to myself that I can do it. I think she also opened up a lot about her experiences from when she came from Mexico to the States. And that's something I've never really asked her about, and like we've never really talked about. And she was like just explaining how she had to forget about a life she had and like come here with like nothing. She didn't even know the language. She didn't have like a house here, like decided to come and try and have a better life over here than she did over there. That like gave me courage too, that like, you know what, like that's so true. All of my family pretty much migrated from Mexico to here. They had a really difficult time too, but they were optimistic of what the future could get them here. That pushed me too to be like, okay, I can do this. And from then on I was like, I'm gonna encounter challenges, but I wanna keep pushing and see what I can do. Also, like, just the circumstances, I have so much to be grateful for, and I was just afraid to, if I complained or just had a difficult time, that I would seem like I was ungrateful. You know, everything that's got me here and like all the sacrifices they've made to get me here. But my mom was really quick to reassure me there's no reason to have to compare. One thing can be hard and that other can be too.
What are your plans after college?
So I kind of mentioned, you know, I have these goals. I want to be a doctor one day. Currently, I'm starting that process. I'm applying to med school this upcoming year, kind of starting MCAT and everything. But I just want to help people, the ones I grew up around, and even my own family. I have my own family history, and I understand how important it is to have not just representation, but someone who's empathetic to your situation and understands how issues aren't just because, you know, you don't take care of yourself. Sometimes it's the circumstances around you that don't allow you to get proper treatment and stuff. I just want to be a provider who understands that and can get better care to their patients.
My ultimate goal is to be able to start my own nonprofit organization that caters specifically to underrepresented and low-income communities. I think this goal started when I was an intern at called the San Pablo Economic Development Corporation. They work hand in hand with small businesses and they really just help them grow with whatever they need. But I think I just saw, especially in my community, there's a lack of financial understanding, and that contributes to the same cycle repeating itself where people aren't able to like reach the next level. And so that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to be able to help people, like with whether it be through workshops or resume building or whatever it may be that can make an impact. I want to go back to communities like the one I grew up in and be able to offer those to people for free, whatever services that they may need. I'm Monse.
I am Abril, and we're first generation college students.